Keller Williams, Greater Metropolitan. We are here on Tuesday morning, right at the bottom of the hour, and excited for another great sales meeting. We got a lot to cover, a couple of really fun announcements, and then a very compelling education session at the top of the hour with Jim Gable, one of our most tried and true agents in the office. He's going to be teaching us his 8x8 system for converting leads. Before we get into that, we're going to start, as we do every week, with a revisit of the Keller Williams belief system. These are the Y4C2Ts, and these are our beliefs that we use to guide our business actions, our actions in our personal lives, the way that we treat our clients, the way that we treat our friends, our family, our colleagues, our co-brokes, and everybody in between. I want to talk today about the belief of success. So if you were with us yesterday morning on Ignite, this is the one that Colleen Miklas opened with. An absolute stunner of a way to start the Ignite series this August. We had over 50 people on the line. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in just a bit as we look at what's remaining, but absolutely knocked the cover off the ball yesterday. Colleen, great job. She started with this conversation around success, results through people. It is a very, very important element of our culture. It is a very, very important element of our company. And you experienced it yesterday with Colleen's conversation around lead generation. You're going to feel it again today in a conversation with Jim Gable as our agents have bought into and believe in the culture of a company where if we help each other, everybody gets to have a better experience. Everybody can achieve their goals. We operate with a mindset of abundance and that we can achieve more together than we can separately. So a great example of that yesterday. And hopefully, you're seeing, hearing, and feeling that every single day as a member of the Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan community. Mega Camp, if you haven't got your ticket, do it right now. Get off this call, book a flight, do it. We've got I think almost 15 agents from Keller Williams Greater Metropolitan now headed down to Austin, Texas, because you know what? It's not hot enough in Cleveland. So let's head down to Austin, get it in the triple digits. Let's get humidity maxed out. Don't tell me about dry heats. It's humid in Austin. No, it's going to be a great time. You're going to spend the whole time or most of the time in a conference center anyway. So it is a great way to invest in yourself, a great way to better understand our company at large, and to learn from top agents around the world. So take advantage of the opportunity. If you're interested, if you want to know who's going, let me know, and we will be happy to hook you up. Career nights. In August, we will be backloading the month. So start telling your friends, family members, colleagues, former colleagues about the opportunity to learn more about a career in real estate and opportunities at Keller Williams through one of our career nights. These are a great time. Eddie Donnelly now running the show for these. And folks, if you thought they were good before, you were probably alone in that because I was running them, and they are very good now. So take advantage of the opportunity, get in there and hear the way that Eddie communicates the mission, vision, values of our company and what we do to help agents launch and grow and scale their career. All right, upcoming trainings. You got a packed month here. We just broke the binding on August, and technically did Ignite start in July? They say so, but we're going to put that in with August. We had, like I said, a killer session yesterday for Ignite. Colleen kicked it off. Tomorrow we continue. We're going to take everything that we got from that lead generation conversation, and we're going to start packing in some lead follow-up because, as we know, the fortune is in the follow-up. We're going to round out this week with Lisa Cisco, and she talks about negotiating offers. And then next week, You will hear some mindset and motivation to kick off your Monday with our team leader, Eddie Donley. Our in-house leverage center transaction coordinator, Liz Kosminski, will be teaching you everything you need to know about getting your deals to close. And then, because listings are the most important thing for anyone and everyone in the industry right now, we have our top listing agent, Josh Young, bringing the heat, closing out Ignite Strong next Thursday, talking about how to win the seller. So if you missed yesterday, jump in tomorrow. If you're like, oh, I would love to do Ignite, but I can't make Monday, August 7th. Don't worry. Get in there, learn from these top agents, these top performers, and make the most of this last push, these last months of the year. I promise you that momentum that you're going to build up in the third quarter will pay you in the fourth quarter and will set you apart from your peers at the start of next year. Whoops. All right. And then over to our friends with Cross Country Mortgage. They're going to be hosting a session on serving your first-time home buyers. First-time home buyers are a massive part of the market. If you remember back to the conversation we had in April about household formation and what's going on with the millennial generation and how we are hitting the peak of household formation for millennials because they are hitting their at a time 33 years after the peak of birth rate. So first-time home buyers, if they are not a part of your portfolio, you are missing out on a large swath of the market. And so if you are in your career and everyone you know is owning a home and they're going to sell or buy, and first-time home buyers are not in the mix, or you haven't worked with them in a while, please dial in for this session because it is going to be really valuable. The world is very different for first-time home buyers than it has been, and there's a lot of opportunities specifically through Cross Country Mortgage to create opportunities for your clients. And then for all of our mega agents, you should have got an email last week, should have got a paperless post last week, and then an email from me about an event, a mega agent mastermind and brunch that we are hosting at the end of August. So please check your emails. Paperless post should have got you the opportunity. Check your spam. We heard that a couple folks, it was going right to junk, right to spam. So check that out. And you should have got an email from me. If you got an email from me, but you're not one from Paperless Post, go ahead and give me a shout and let me know, and we will get you dialed in with a good Répondez s'il vous plaît. And then our August book club on the 31st, we'll be hanging out in the Rocky River office, talking about the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. That's all that's all I know is the name of the book, but I can't wait to get stuck in on this one. It seems like it was a contentious, if you saw the poll in the Facebook group, it was really a battle of the two Evelyns. There was one book about her seven husbands of Evelyn, maybe, and then the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn. So I'm excited about this. You will, and I'll look forward to seeing you in Rocky River on the 31st. The folks who were there last time had a real big time, a lot of fun. So don't miss out on it. Read the book and enjoy yourself. And then big announcement today, big announcement. Our clam bake is back. We are once again descending on Mayfield Country Club, where we will host our annual clam bake, which is the largest KW Cares fundraiser that we do each year. It is also one of the best parties we throw each year, which is saying a lot because we throw a damn good party in this company. We'll have our live auction, our raffles, a live DJ, and tons of food, beer, and wine. We'll also a little extra special this year is that we are celebrating 20 years of KW Cares nationally. So KW Cares has been around for 20 years this year. So we're going to do it in a big way for KW Cares Cleveland. And you can go to clambake2023.eventbrite.com to get your ticket. And like everything else in the world, the cost of clams keeps a climbing. And fortunately, we are able to keep the cost of this awesome experience down for all of our agents, thanks to our partners at Cross Country Mortgage. So when you get in there, you will have the opportunity to get a little discount on your tickets for the first 100 tickets at least, thanks to Sean Hadley and all of the mighty men of mortgage over there in Cross Country Land. So thank you guys for that. Please get your tickets now. We will be done selling tickets as of September 1. We have to give those dates prior to the Labor Day weekend. This is going to be the second Friday in September, the week of Labor Day. So that Labor Day is on Monday, Clam Bake's on Friday. So please jump on it. Get your tickets now. Get a ticket for friends, family, spouse. Do it as a client event. A lot of people get a lot of traction with it as a client event. It is a ton of fun and a great opportunity to hang with a bunch of your KW friends. The end of the month, at the end of August, Andrew Ginter will be hosting his first broker mastermind. Tremendous amount of feedback on some of the calls that Andrew's been on and the conversations that we've had with updates from him. And so this one is going to be dialed in on how to handle inspection disclosures when deals fall apart. That is happening more often. And we have the opportunity to provide a lot more support around that. So he's going to break down the do's and don'ts of what happens when deals die. All right. That is the rundown for everything coming down the pike. A very big August, busy August. And then we're going to kick off September with a whole hell of a lot of fun at the Clam Bake. Let's jump over to our partners. First and foremost, Janelle Kiefer and Rick Capretta. What's happening over at ORT?
DJ Hardcastle here. Hopefully I'll be able to do the Clam Bake for you guys this year. But a couple quick things. I know that Jen O'Malley just got a CE 3-hour CE class for September 27th out at the Rocky River. So just wanted to throw that out there, although I know it's a little far into the future, wanted to throw it out. And then also I'm going to post this website here. It's Fetch is a service that we're going to provide out to you guys. You could it's a farming tool. You can pull your own property profile. So kind of like the tax and legals. Also has the ability for you guys to purchase names and email addresses of these folks for like 12 cents for both of those. So if you want to be signed up for the service, what I think we'll do is maybe throw a Zoom out there next week or in a couple weeks to go over it. But if you want to get signed up in the meantime, since it takes a minute to sign people up, go ahead and email me. I just stuck my email in the chat and I will start signing people up for this. It seems like a good tool. I've got some clients who are already using it and really like it. So we want to get you guys on board so you can get more leads.
That is awesome. Huge. Thank you. Janelle, anything on your end?
This week I concur with my brother.
That's awesome. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys. All right. Over to our friends at Cross Country. Big thanks to you guys for your consistent and overwhelming support of everything we do here, especially the Clam Bake. What's going on?
Morning, everybody. All right, cost of clams keeps a climbing. That's a good one for the week. I really enjoyed that saying. So, touch on a few things. Interest rates. So, Federal Reserve Board last week, as expected, raised interest rates 0.25%, and they did a great job of committing to nothing in the press conference after. So, we don't know if the Fed's going to bump interest rates before the end of the year. They kind of hinted that they might be able to, but hey, we might be done as well. The next Fed meeting isn't for about 8 weeks away. So just a bit of volatility as employment numbers come out, inflation reports. 30-year fixed is hovering right around, or in some cases just below or just above that 7%. So your listing your script for the week to anybody thinking about selling is, hey, rates are up, suck it up, list your house. They've been over 6% in the mid and high sixes for over a year. So this pretty much is the new norm. And again, nobody's happy about interest rates when we're talking to customers, but they know where it's at. It's out there, it's known. So again, be the pro, be the contact, and all of that. We're doing still a fair amount of recast and bridge loans. We just closed a bridge loan last week where the buyer at first couldn't qualify to buy without selling. We used a bridge loan not just to fund the down payment, but to wipe out some debt. And we were able to get the debt ratio down, and they're already closing their house this week, living on their way to living happily ever after. So just wanted to mention those two items. Chris, kick it over to you.
Yeah, with the rates and everything, obviously everyone's kind of used to where we have been for, like you said, the last year. I just wanted to note that the buy now, refi later program, I'm sure we mentioned it before, but it's extended through mid-October. So anyone that's jumpy about rates, or they want to talk refinance, we're going to be able to give them a deal on a future refinance. That's good through the end of 2025. So just wanted to mention that. DJ?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on Sean's comment about the bridge loan, where we first we didn't qualify, but then we looked at this to pay off some debt to get them to qualify. I think that comment right there tells you we're not just rate quoters here. We're going to look at the big picture here and see what it takes to get somebody into a house today. And if we can't do it today, we're going to give them direction on how to get into that house in the next 3 to 6, 9, 12 months. So don't look at us as rate quoters. We're more than that. I feel like we're true professionals here. So keep that in mind when you're referring your customers to us.
Yeah, and I'll just jump on that with a testimonial. I have a family member in Columbus, Ohio, who, she's it's my cousin. She's in her early 30s. She's still renting. I had a conversation with her at a family gathering recently about like, hey, are you thinking about buying? Do you plan on being in Columbus for a while? She was like, yeah, I'd like to, but I can't because, I can't get pre-approved for whatever. And knowing her finances, knowing a lot of that stuff, I was like, that's way off. She had gone to some, fly by night, person who had, been in and out of the mortgage industry over the course of the last 5 years, referred by a realtor that, she didn't feel the need to call me. So go figure. But I put her in touch with Sean Hadley, and she went from not being the mortgage loan officer that she was working with previously told her the only way she was going to get into a house was she had to make significantly more money, which is probably the worst piece of feedback you can give to anybody in any economy. One phone call with Sean Hadley, she was pre-approved for $200,000, right? And it is so important to realize that one, not everybody's created the same. Two, when it comes to like, hey, rates are around 7%. I mean, there's buy downs, there's ARMs, there's the pre-scheduled refi that Chris just talked about. Like, if we let the conversation stop at rate, if even if you don't feel comfortable handling it and handling the objections around rate, just get them in conversation with one of these three guys, and you will move your lead through the pipeline. I promise you. My cousin now has a buyer consultation tomorrow morning with an agent from a Keller Williams office in Columbus, and we'll be seeing homes this weekend, right? And that's just a matter of she had one conversation with one person who told her one thing, and she accepted that as the truth. We cannot let our clients do that, right? And so great opportunity to leverage by taking advantage of the team of folks here. Cool, good stuff. All right, Gina Legeza, are you with us this morning? Sorry, I didn't have time to check by who's in there. All right, we'll move over to Liz Kosminski. Liz, you with us?
Good morning. Yes, I'm here.
Morning, Liz. I was like, if not, I'm walking out to your desk. How's everything going in the wild and wonderful world of transactions?
Overall, for me, it's doing great. However, I just looked at the numbers for July. And it actually looks like new listings were down about 20% year over year, and closings were down about 24% year over year. So it looks like the available inventory is definitely down.
Yeah. Inventory's down, transactions are down, but not for every agent, right? We have, we will have dozens of agents who will post better Julys year over year, better Julys than the market, and are consistently above the market year to date. So we get to decide our outcomes, right?
Yep, the agents who do what they need to do every single day are the ones who are going to come out on top.
And if you're an agent who's like, yeah, I would love to do those things that I'd love to really get dialed in on my lead generation that Colleen taught me about yesterday during Ignite. But damn, I'm so busy like managing all these dates and emails and files for my transaction. That's where you come in, right, Liz?
Yep, that's exactly the solution I provide. I take care of all of the paperwork and the busy work so that agents can focus on what they need to do to get more business.
I love that. Well, and you do it at a very high level, and we are thrilled to be in business with you. Team, if you have any interest in scaling your business, one of the first places you should go is the Leverage Center. Marketing, transaction coordination, anything you need at your fingertips. Learn a little bit more about it, have a conversation with Liz, get an understanding of how well she cares for your clients, and then lean into it. If you can open up 10 to 20 more hours in a given transaction for lead generation, and you know that it takes you 5 hours to generate a deal, I mean, that could be a massive, massive opportunity for you in getting a bigger, fuller pipeline. So thank you, Liz.
Yep, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring to the main stage Jim Gable. Jim Gable is where you at, Jim? There you are. Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going well. It's going well. Thanks for helping us out here today. Very excited for this session. I know this is one that you have done a few times for the coaching program on the East Side. It's one that you're very passionate about, and it's one that's allowed you to generate a consistent and growing business. Before we get started, before I turn the sticks over to you, first tell us a little bit about yourself. Get everybody read in on everything they need to know about Jim Gable.
Yeah, sure. So I've been a licensed agent since 2013. And I joined this office from another Keller Williams office in, I think, around 2015, something like that, maybe 2016. Started coaching with Eric Akbar in 2019 and became a full-time agent at that point. And one of the things that we went over in order to kind of expand my business in order to become a full-time agent was doing lead generation in a systematic manner. Since 2019, I was able to obviously become a full-time agent, grow my business. And I think one of the highlights, just like kind of highlight real thing, is had a month where I did over 50 transactions. I think it was actually 63 transactions that month, but yeah, able to take it from a point where I was a part-time agent to doing consistent business. And yeah, just keep plugging away. So
that's amazing. And how many of those 63 transactions do you attribute to your tagline, "If you're ready, willing, and able, call Jim Gable"?
At least 98%.
All right. I'm still waiting on my royalty for that. All right. I understand that you're going to share your screen with us and then take us through this systematic approach to lead generation.
Yeah. So before I will share my screen, but before I do that, I just want to kind of explain what an 8x8 is.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know. So an 8x8, I'm not sure if Gary Keller invented it or somebody else who did it, but it is in the MREA book. And it's 8 touches over 8 weeks. And it's the goal of it is to take a lead or somebody that you don't have in your pipeline or you've never met before, is to take them from a haven't met to a met. So it takes them from you're calling them and they're like, who is this? Like, why are you calling me? To by the end of the 8x8, I mean, probably even before the end of the 8x8, is they'll pick up their phone. They'll be like, oh, hey, Jim, how's it going? And they know you on a first name basis. You guys are at least hopefully having civil conversations. You're providing ways all throughout the 8x8. They're 8 touches, but it's most effective when you are providing value all along the way. And this is done again in a systematic manner. So what I did was just, through a coaching program, I sat down, took some time, maybe I think it took like 3 evenings, if that. It doesn't take a lot of time to develop your own system of 8x. It's all based on the core principles of 8x8, but it's how you can take that 8x8 and repeat it over time, with every single lead. Like what can you do to provide value to every single person where you're not even having to think about it? You just log in on command, or I do it off a spreadsheet because that just works better for me. But like how can you systematically do it so you're not thinking about what your next step is? Like you're not calling them with no reason. You're actually calling them to provide value. So
Well, and how valuable is it? 100 leads, is if I run the 8x8, I'm going to add 17 people to my pipeline or whatever. You have a ratio based off of this, because you do it so consistently. If I run this play, I get this result. So, if you use fetch, right, that we heard Rick Capretta talk a little bit about. If you use that and you're like, oh, hey, I'm going to get 200 names and emails and phone numbers and home addresses, that you're going to convert that into a certain amount of business because you're running a solid system.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're tracking your numbers, exactly what, like, this helps you also track your numbers, because you're like, all right, cool. Like I reached out to this many people. You're not going to like delete these people out of your database. Like, I mean, there might be like a couple that you might do that with, but like, you're not going to delete them out of your database. You can see your conversions. There's multiple benefits to doing this in a systematic manner. You can follow up with people. And so what I'm going to show you today is specifically for sale by owners, but this can be done with anything, like any kind of lead generation you want to do. If you want to do expireds, if you're just trying to meet CEOs of companies, if you're trying to, I don't know, meet a lot of contractors or something, like this can be done literally with anybody you want to meet and get to know on a first name basis. It's just how you develop it. And again, it doesn't take very long to do it. I think, it's like three evenings I did this in. And you don't have to have it all done all at once either. You can start doing it and then you'd be like, oh, this would be a good idea. Let's try that out. So, but it's just a matter if you're doing it and putting it together in a systematic manner. So I'll share my screen right now just to see what I did. And at the end of it, I'd like to come up with, so this is the second time I've taught this.
Yep.
Third time I taught this. And I'm going to share my screen, what I've done in the past. I don't really want people just to copy this, because this is stuff that I've done. And it might not be, it was something that I was committed to doing, and I wrote it down. I was like, why would I write it down if I'm not going to do it? I'd like everybody to think about how they would do their own 8x8. I'll give you some examples, and I'd like to, kind of come up with some other stuff at the end where it's like, hey, like, what are some other things that you can do? It's like, these are only 8 touches. Like there's plenty more touches that you can do that's you can repeat over and over and over again. So, all right. So here, you see this?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. So I pulled up 3 examples here, just from, this is from when I first started teaching this, but like, again, these are all leads that I had that I closed on, in some form or fashion. Looks like these were in 2020. These are all for sale by owners. And so what I did here was I just made this spreadsheet. Again, you can do it in any CRM command, whatever it is. And just have some basic notes about the house and the person, where it's at, because you want to keep track of a lot of this stuff, what your conversations look like. because if you start filling your pipeline up with like 30, 40, 50 leads, you're not going to remember what you talked about with Rob like last week. If he's got a dog, or was it Rachel, or you don't remember this. So you want to make sure you're recording things specifically about their house. And most important, like, yeah, notes about the house is fine. But like more specifically about them, you want to find out what their pain points are, what what other real estate agents have talked to them with, something that they're telling you information for a reason. Because this is the way the world is as they see it. And so you want to find out what their objections are, how things are going, how long they've had the house up for sale, what kind of activity they're getting. So like I know that a lot of times folks will say, hey, I think I'm getting 2 offers this weekend. Do they actually end up getting 2 offers that weekend? Maybe not. And more often than not, they're not getting those 2 offers. So, along with that, they get their hopes up, and there's some defeat, and then you kind of just pick them back up like, hey, it's not the end of the world. So anyway, I just want to show you 3 examples here and just kind of go through the process and some of the things I think about as I'm doing it. So we have the date of next follow-up. I keep it over here in this section here just because I can sort it easily. And like when I come in the morning, right before I'm doing my lead generation or lead follow-up, I'm just sorting it so that like, hey, today, hey, guess what? I got to follow up with Rob, or I got to follow up with Chris and Lisa. But we'll get to that here in just a moment, how I come up with that. Here's the address, owner's names, notes about the house, notes about the owners. Again, going back to this stuff, let me go move on here just real quick. A date of first visit, I like to do previews of the houses. Not everybody likes to do that. My first goal on my 8x8 is to make an appointment to go see the house. And I call them up, find out if they're having an open house. I find out if they're having an open house. If they are having an open house, I go to that open house. Just because they're open, it's open to the public. They're not going to say, no, you can't come to my open house. 2, like everybody wants people to show up at their open house. They're putting time in, they're taking their Sunday or Saturday, whatever it is, taking time out of their day. They don't want nobody to show up. They're happy that you're coming over. You go over there, and then if they're not having an open house, set an appointment. Just call them up, see how you can see the house. Not everybody will allow you to come over on the very first try. They might have some sort of an objection where they're like, hey, don't come over unless you have a buyer. Somewhere down the line, there's probably another agent who told them, hey, I got a buyer, and they show up, and they're probably just immediately try to sit them down at the table and start presenting to them. Something happened where they came up with that objection. So figure out why, and just keep providing value. There's commonalities with a lot of this stuff where it's like, why is this guy just like so standoffish right now? It's probably because somebody did something to him, to be honest. So could be a limiting belief though. But anyway, and we can talk through that, how to overcome those objections later. But to keep on track with this, I'm just recording all my meetings. When I meet with them, I see the house, I'm asking them questions about the house. I'm genuinely curious about it. What made them want to sell the house? Where are they moving to? How soon do they need to get there? Oh, great. What takes you over there? Are they willing to work with a buyer's agent if I brought them a buyer? Sometimes people are like, yeah, I'm willing to pay like $1,000. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not going to actually do it for that, but like, I'm not going to sit there and argue with them in their own house. They're doing this, they're doing for sale by owner because they think it's the best course of action, because otherwise why would they be doing it? So we want to just keep, we want to be respectful to them, not tell them that they're an idiot, not tell them that they're, they're doing it wrong, or hey, put this in the hands of a professional. Like, don't go over to somebody's house and stand in their house and tell them like they're less of a person for sale by owner, because like they're not. These are just people. Anyway.
Yeah, Jim, and that goes on everything, right? It's whether or not there's somebody who is a first-time seller, a first-time home buyer, they're expired. Like, everybody is coming from a position that they have their truth, right? In the whole home buying and selling journey. And you want to demonstrate value, not just cram it down their throat, right?
Absolutely. You got to think like all the people who they have in their life, who are either they read it on, they heard it on the news. They've got an uncle who's sold their house for sale by owner, who's telling them, hey, you don't need to do this, and it's easy and blah, blah, blah. Well, great. Like, maybe that was that guy's experience. Might not be their experience. There's a lot of, misconceptions that people have, and it's not, I know that the reason I'm bringing this up is because like I know that there's agents out there who do this. They'll go over to a seller's house and they'll be like, they'll call them up, they'll harass them, and they'll be like, "You're an idiot. Don't you're selling your house for sale by owner. You shouldn't be doing that. Like, give it to a professional." All this stuff. It's like, don't do that. And if you are doing that, stop. Like, it's making everybody look bad. So, but if you're genuinely wanting to help people and like show them like, hey, like, hey, I can help you, and here's how I can help you. And, I'm genuinely like somebody who actually works hard and can do this. And I have systems in place to get this done quickly and help drive a ton of emotion to your house so that people are like, hopefully, bidding it up, that's really where our value comes in as real estate agents. It's not really like, especially in this market, it's like, will the house probably sell? Yeah. But like residential real estate is primarily driven by emotion, where somebody can go, it's not commercial real estate. It's not driven by, the value, it's, the money, it's income it's producing. It's driven by somebody can go in the house and be like, well, I feel like I want to spend $10,000 over the asking price on this one. So that's where our value comes in, and I'll show you exactly how, it takes it from all of these systematic follow-ups where I'll proceed with this, and I'll get to the end here, and I'll show you where the payoff is. I have other systematic follow-ups where I'm like calling them afterwards. I'm doing a follow-up phone call. Hey, thanks for having me over at your house. And just wanted to let you know that, I'm going to be getting the word out about your house. Is it all right if I share it with the agents in my office? Like, maybe one of them has a buyer, that sort of thing. And genuinely, they're like, yeah, like, of course, like, it's free for me. I'm looking for a lot of small yeses here. Because right now they're saying no to everything. And they're just like, if I'm just going to say yes to, oh, okay, yeah, sure, you can do that. Yeah, sure, you can do that. Sure, you can do that. Okay.
Can you repeat that point? I've never heard it described that way. And like, that is a huge unlock into what we are trying to accomplish in a lead follow-up scenario.
Yeah. What, the small yeses?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I'm following up with them, like, again, like, I'm not just calling them and saying, like, asking for stuff like, hey, I want your listing. Hey, give me this. Hey, like, I want stuff. They don't care if you want stuff. You like the primary goal of this is to show them that you're like willing to put the work in. And hey, like, one of my steps on here is to like share their listing on my Facebook profile. I call them and I make sure that they're okay with that. Like, I'm not just going to do that. Like, but they're like, hey, yeah, yes, you can do that. And thanks for following up. Thanks for doing that. Like, I mostly have people just calling me and just wanting things. And then another thing that I do is like, I'll spend $10. I'll take out a Facebook, a paid Facebook ad. It's free for them. It costs me $10. If I do get a buyer lead that wants to see their house, great. I'll bring them over there. I know that they're willing to pay a buyer's commission. So like, who cares? And just again, good.
No, as you say, that's brilliant. You're going to spend $5 or $10, maybe turn up a lead, at very least get some relationship capital with that individual, such as the next time you ask for something. But God forbid you go in there and you sell the house or take a listing, $10. Would you pay $10 for a listing every day of the week and twice on Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, okay, maybe you don't get the listing, but you have a buyer. You have a buyer who's going to buy the house. Like, okay, cool. You helped out two people that way, and potentially more. So, who knows? Maybe that buyer's going to sell their house too. That's one. I'll do those things, and then like another benefit of that, the Facebook stuff, and sharing their stuff on my social media is like, hey, my friends and family start thinking that I'm selling a lot of houses. So some pretty good market exposure. But this is stuff that works for me. And I'm, again, we're all throughout all these touches, and I'm calling them, and I'm like, hey, can I do this for your house? I want to, market your house. I'm just doing it for free. And also, that's, I forgot the next point I was going to go with that, but like you're following up, you're finding out more and more about their story. You're finding out how things are going. Did they get another, are they having challenges with, like, they had an offer, but it's a super low offer. Okay, well, what makes you think that, like, what about that is an issue to you? Like, where are their thoughts on, as far as like the value of their house? Maybe they'll start coming down on, like, they started at like 200,000 for the house, and they're telling you privately, hey, I would be willing to consider 170 for it, but they offered me 135. And you're like, now you're starting to be like, okay, yeah, this guy needs a lot of help, so like, he's getting lowball offers. There's not a lot of legitimacy. Like, maybe his pictures suck online, and he's just like, and I'll show you an example here. So the very first guy I'll show you, this guy, Rob, he was selling his sister's house. I think this house was on the market for like 160 something days, something like that. And his sister passed away in the house unexpectedly. The house is likely for investors only. And the reason why I said that was because it was pretty beat up. It was like, the guy was like going over there and just standing in the kitchen. It smelled, it's like bad carpet, the carpet like smelled like somebody died in the house. And it was he had gotten, there was looked like there could be some significant water intrusion in the basement that had actually ended up being resolved by fixing a downspout. He was paying the mortgage on the place. He had it listed for 160 something days. He's paying for two places. He currently lives at this apartment over here. I could tell that, he didn't seem like he had like a ton of money where he can just float two mortgages at the same time. So he was up against that. He had investors offer him 125, 150, and 165. He hired an attorney to help with the sale, but is clearly been given bad advice, judging by the property disclosure form he gave me. It was like just like a handwritten, like, just, I don't know, it was very off the wall. And so I stayed in touch with him. Eventually, like, I think it was on like the 10th touch that I did. Like, he's like, Jim, you've always shot me straight. I'd be happy to work with you. He's like cussing out other agents, like telling me how bad real estate agents are. I'm like, I'm an agent standing in his house. I'm like, oh yeah, real estate agents are really bad. So I want to show you. So I ended up selling this house for $195,000 cash. And so his highest offer that he had as a for sale by owner was $165,000. And so just to show you what what ended up happening here, I sold in 2 days. And I had like a ton of traffic go to the house. He cleaned it out, and I just gave him some advice, just practical advice. I sold for 195, and I did a 6% commission with him on that one. So our total commission was $11,700. So let's just say without taking out closing costs, all that stuff like that, the 165 was his highest net. Well, just for the simplicity of it. So 195 minus 11,700, he ended up netting an additional $18,300 by listing it with a real estate agent, and paid my commission. So it's like, dude, like, I totally helped you. Like, not only you sell your house in 2 days, you don't have to pay the mortgage on it anymore. You netted an additional $18,300 on it. It's like, dude, like, we don't have value? Like, we totally do. So
Jim, so when was that?
this one was in 2020.
Okay. Any referrals from him? Anything else that's come from that relationship? It's okay if not, but I'm just taking a stab in the dark here.
Sure. Him specifically, no. But these people, this has been 3 transactions out of these people.
Yep.
They had a duplex. She had to buy another house, and I sold this house. This guy right here, I didn't end up selling his house. He sold his for sale by owner, but he ended up buying a duplex in Lakewood with me. So
there's this and it kind of ebbs and flows in terms of popularity, but the book Raving Fans, right? And I want to create raving fans. And what a great example of how to do it. You lead with the relationship, you leverage your expertise, you leave the client in charge, but empower them on good decisions, all in a systematic way. Right. And it doesn't have to be, oh, I have the gift of gab. I'm a high I, I'm super outgoing and people love me. That's not that might make you some fans, but like what you just broke down is, a life-changing inflection point probably for that guy at the top, because he goes from being saddled with debt and dealing with, his deceased sister's property to, I made 20 grand more than I expected to, and it's done.
Yeah.
And he did significantly less.
Like, he was going every weekend over there.
Ugh.
And people were showing up, and then people would ghost him, like not show up, and he's taking time off work to go do that stuff. It's like,
yeah. And you're used to that. You're a realtor. You got the thick skin of being ghosted by buyers.
all the time.
Ugh.
And I'm not even going over there. Like, I'm going over there and building rapport with people.
Yeah.
Like, this guy, like, I sat there, I talked to this guy in his house, or this was his deceased brother's house. I went over there. I hardly asked him much about the house, like, general points or whatever. But I sat there for like an hour and 10 minutes talking to him about fishing and hunting and his RVs. And he bought 22 acres over in Oberlin. Like, I've never even been to Oberlin. And I'm like, I don't even hunt. I'm like, but I got a buddy who hunts. And I'm like, just taking interest in his life and the things that he's excited about. And I'm like, wow, that sounds awesome. And just generally being very curious about, him and his life. And then just building rapport. Like, obviously there's like, hey, I'll talk to with him an hour and 10 minutes, but then at the same time, it's okay, great. And also I was thinking about your house, and just curious, would you be offended if I run a Facebook ad on it? And he just sat there and told me about hunting and fishing for an hour and 10 minutes. He's going to be like, oh yeah, of course. Like, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great example of getting the small yes again, because we all hear the stories about the person who never asks for the business or never takes the conversation from hunting and fishing over to real estate. But it's like, hey, I love this. We can keep talking about that real quick. Do you mind if I just like advertise your house on your behalf, maybe turn up a buyer? Because I like this house. I like you. I want to help you sell it.
Yeah.
And
These guys, they're on market for 230 days. It's like, what? He's driving from Oberlin. So it's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'd be happy to share this with people. And at the same time, again, like I was saying at the beginning of the presentation, is that I think it would be beneficial if, I'm not sure if anybody can, type in the chat or something like that, like some examples of like some other ways that we can provide benefit to people, value to people. There's like, what's something that you can do outside of the examples that I'd given, that's something that you can do to provide value to somebody. Like what can you give a for sale by owner that would help them?
I love the free Facebook ad. Team, go ahead and just drop into the chat anything that you have done or think about doing. I'm seeing some of these like, hey, house was in disrepair, needs some updating. You mentioned at the top of the hour, you said, this is a great way if you want to get into deeper relationships with contractors, right? How many times does somebody ask us, hey, do you have somebody? Do you know but you could provide like, hey, if you're looking to have work done, here's a guy I really trust.
Yeah,
Call him,
absolutely.
don't call him, I don't care. But let's see, Chris says created pamphlets with FSBO tips. Yeah,
Sure.
right. Like, hey, if you're going to sell for sale by owner, which a lot of people have successfully, I think about 7 or 8% of all homes are sold for sale by owner. And if you're going to do it, here's the best ways to do it. And it probably looks like a lot of work. And then they're like, God, I really would rather somebody else do all this stuff.
Right. Maybe another one is, finding something that you're uniquely good at, or something that you uniquely can do. Like, let's say you're really good at photography, right? And you're like, maybe you don't want to go and shoot their entire house for free, but you're like, hey, you know what? I noticed that your first picture on your listing is like, not, I don't want to say it looks bad, but it's, it seems a little blurry. Would you be offended if I came over and shot like maybe like 1 to 3 photos of the front of your house? You can use it for your listing. And then made another touch after that. Hey, would you be offended if I were to put those photos that I took of your house on my Facebook page? It helps drive traffic to your house. I can tag you in it. Then you become friends with them on Facebook. And then, or maybe if they're not on Facebook, you just send them a screenshot of like, hey, this is what I posted on my social media. I took all these photos, and like helps drives traffic to your photography business if you've got that, or something that you're uniquely good at. Like, I don't know, maybe you I don't know. I think there was some story of like Dan Malloy going over house to house with like, he knew of like some sort of sub pump malfunction or something like that, like, or backup batteries or something like that. Dude, it was had unique inside information about that neighborhood.
Well, and all he did was he bought 24 of them, right? He bought, and it, they were, I don't know, $30 each at Home Depot. And so he spent $500-700, and he went to the houses where he knew they had a sump pump, and he was like, hey, I'm just installing these, for whatever reason. I forget what his line was. And then, okay, it takes about a half an hour to install. They're not going to let some stranger in their basement alone. Talks to him for 30 minutes. He'll tell you the story. He bought 24 of them. He only got 10 installed before he had enough listings to just decide to do real estate full time.
Yeah. Think how grateful those people are.
Yeah.
Like,
and we have, and it's why we talk about the beliefs and the values of the company every week, because they can very quickly just become words on the wall. If you've done Boulder, you've been around this company for any amount of time, you probably heard the phrase come from contribution, right? We're going to come from contribution. So instead of thinking about how this FSBO could help me by letting me list their house, right? You've adopted a position that says, how can I add value? Right? And earn the right to be in business with people. And then you've systematized it, right? And you can do that with expireds, right? Expireds have a big pain point. They thought they were going to sell their house in 3 days, and 3 months later, It's not, right? And then they, oh, now I got to go find another realtor, da, 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 da. Okay, adopt that mindset. What would you want from somebody instead of, hey, I'm a realtor. Hey, I have a license. I could sell your house. And it's like, so did the last person. Right?
Yeah,
Or
you,
first-time home buyers, right? Or people of a certain age that are looking to downsize or need a ranch or whatever it is. Like everybody has needs. What we do as realtors is stand in a gap.
literally anybody you meet at an open house that doesn't have a real estate agent, like literally anybody, just throw it on an 8x8. Like, what can you do to provide value to those people who took time out of their Sunday, brought all, their 3 kids to the open house? You hardly had time to talk with them at the open house, maybe because their 3 kids were running around, but that's what you got their contact information. You follow up with them in a systematic manner, providing value, and instead of being like, oh, let me know if I can ever help you. It's like, that's not providing value. Do stuff for them. So
And, I want to revisit something that you mentioned because, that activity begets opportunity. You mentioned like, hey, if I take 5 FSBOs and I'm posting on Facebook or running Facebook ads and my friends and family see that, they think you're doing a lot of business, right?
oh yeah.
How much for you as you like, okay, you spent half a decade in the industry as a dual career agent, you made the leap to full time. How much of it was the value of being in activity and being able to wake up every day and know, well, I've got to contact these 10 people. I got to find 3 new FSBOs and I got to add value to the last 10 I met with, right? Is it to generate the activity that then generates the business.
Yeah. I mean, what power begets more power, and, business begets more business. It's just, if you're not just doing it all willy-nilly and you're doing it in a systematic fashion where you're like, hey, you're following up with people, you're generating new business because you have a system in place. Like, you're not having to think about what you're going to do that day. Like, you already know what you're going to do that day, because you have it written down and you wrote it down. It's something that you committed to doing. Then yeah, it compounds, because then people find out like, hey, that this person, is selling my house for sale by owner. Jim was like always like, he definitely didn't back, down talk me. And he was always shot me straight and was always helpful. Or let's say you don't even get that listing, maybe you have a good relationship out of it. There's another for sale by owner who I eliminated from this presentation on here just to kind of keep it short, but like, he's a pretty well-known attorney in the area. And he was selling for his son's first condo for sale by owner, like this little tiny, it was like $135,000 condo. I'm like, don't you have better things to do with your time right now? But like, I didn't end up getting that listing. I have stayed in touch with him ever since, like, and at some point or another, he owns like a big shopping center over in North Ridgeville. I guarantee you when it comes time, like, I'm going to be the person he reaches out to, because we stay in touch. Like, he asks me questions about his shopping center all the time. Like, and I'm like, try to help him out with things over there. And like, from, hey, he's like, hey, you have a new landscaper. Like, my guy quit on me or something like that. I'm like, yeah, for sure. Like, so like, even if I don't get anything out of it, it's cool. I got a really great criminal defense attorney. So.
Which you never know when you might need that.
Yeah, who knows?
Oh, that's awesome. All right, my friend, we made it to 10:30. Any other closing remarks? I am going to ask, and a couple people have messaged me, if you can share that maybe with myself and Carrie. We will send it out in the recap of the meeting today so that everybody's got this asset and they can start to, tinker with it a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I highly encourage you to make it your own. Don't just do what I did, because this is the stuff that I wrote down, committed to. Make it your own, please, like, because otherwise you're not going to do it.
Yeah, that's a powerful takeaway to end on, is that, you thought, you sat, and it, like you said, it took you a couple nights, 2 or 3 evenings okay, what else could I do? Okay, what would I do after that? And then once you have it and own it, then it becomes like you're running your plays, not somebody else's. And I love that. And it's not too generous an amount of time to come up with something that it can consistently generate business.
Skip the TV for 2 evenings.
Yeah, it'll be there. All right, terrific. Well, my friend, thank you so much. This is huge, and I think a great value add all around, and appreciate you sharing it with us, sharing it with all of our agents, and then sharing the stories behind it. Those are some fantastic ones.
Sure. Anytime.
Great, good stuff. All right, team, that's going to do it for today.